Leonard, your dad went into a restaurant and ate everything in the restaurant, and they had to close the restaurant.
Hey, my dad may have gained a little weight, but he's not some kind of food-crazed maniac.
Hi there, and welcome to Baseball by Design. I am SportsLogos.net minor league baseball correspondent Paul Caputo, broadcasting live, as always, from the Sunday Helmet Hall of Fame in my basement in Fort Collins, Colorado.
And I am Dan Simon, broadcasting from the Studio Simon North American headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky.
Dan, this is a little bit of a different episode. We're going to be talking about some alternate brands. We're going to be talking about a couple of primary brands, but this is not just about one team. We're going to have minor league baseball celebrity and social media star, Stadium Food Girl, Valerie Ruiz, who is going to just come talk about some of her favorite minor league baseball brands that are based in food. And I brought some of my favorite brands. I will say, Dan, that my favorites are probably more based on what foods I like rather than the brands themselves. But it was a fun conversation with Valerie, and we sort of ping-pong back and forth going through some brands. Alternate brands are part of the, let's say, bread and butter of minor league baseball these days.
Again, with the great little, I see what you did there kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Puns are really funny when you like pause and really super emphasize them and almost like with your eyes say, get it, get it, get it, which is something that I tend to do with all of my puns, like me. Pause for laughter. It actually says in the script, pause for laughter. Dan, are there any, have you done any food-based logos that are notable to you, fun ones to work on, or maybe just brands that were based on foods that you liked? Anything notable about any food-based brands you've done in the past?
Well, that brings up an important distinction here.
Okay.
When we talk about food-based, to me, food-based brands are brands that are dishes, as opposed to, think about the recent episode you did, the normal corn belters. Corn
Sure.
is a food,
Yeah.
and it certainly can be a dish, as can the Fort Myers Mighty Mussels. Okay,
Yeah.
you're eating mussels and shrimp, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I do not consider the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp to be a food identity. I consider that to be an animal identity.
I agree with you. And I think that I'm trying to remember the conversation explicitly, but the jumbo shrimp, that's an animal, right? Like that's an animal-based identity. It becomes food in many instances, but all of these identities that we talk about, if I'm remembering it correctly, are things that are distinctively food. They're not animals or produce that become food at some point in their process.
Right now, and so given this, you might be surprised to know, well, I'll tell you what, this is not the Studio Simon Stumper,
Oh, okay.
but take a wild guess in all of minor league baseball, affiliated and independent, how many primary brand identities are named after a food that is a dish?
So this is
Take a wild guess out of the 202
out of the 202 affiliated and independent professional teams, how many of them are actually named for a food? I will tell you the first one that I named was the Montgomery Biscuits.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to name them all, just a wild guess. You can if you want, although
like single digits, like fewer than 5, probably like not more than 2 or 3 is what I'm guessing.
That is a great guess. There are 3.
Okay.
There are the Montgomery Biscuits, the original.
Yeah.
The other affiliated team with a food-based name are the Hub City Spartanburgers.
Yeah.
And then, as far as I know, the only independent minor league team with such a name are the Chicago Dogs.
Oh, of course, the Chicago Dogs, and because their logo is a
Hot dog
as a hot dog.
to a dog.
Yeah. The one that I thought you might mention was going to be the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes, although I don't know if they're collegiate summer or independent professional.
Collegiate
They're collegiate summer, but they also they've got like 9 different things that are their logos, and like the primary one is probably the horseshoe, but then they've also got the horseshoe sandwich in there. So I will say, spoiler alert, since you brought it up, the Spartan Burgers do also come up in this conversation. That's obviously a Dan Simon project. I will always associate that project with Anadana a couple of years ago, and I was writing the article for sportslogos.net, and I did the interview for that article with you in the car driving between baseball games. Anna was driving, you were in the passenger seat, Ranger Amy and I were sitting in the back seat, and I did it's the only live interview I think I've ever done with you, or in-person interview I've ever done with you for a Sports Logos article.
Oh, for Sports Logos article, yes. But
Yeah.
we've done, I think, well, obviously we've done some live
Oh yeah.
interviews on
During those
road
Anadana
trips.
Paloozas, we've done several. But yeah, this was the only time I ever gathered quotes for a Sports Logos article while you and I were hanging out together. So anyway, but that's because that Spartanburgers logo was unveiled while we were on that trip, and I was writing up the article, and I have live exclusive access to designer Dan Simon as I'm writing this article up. So well, anyway, Dan. Val and I have a great conversation coming up. Val is a superstar out there in the social media world, and she's a lot of fun and brings a great energy to minor league baseball, and she just loves it so much, and it just really shines through. So it'll be fun to talk to Val, and then you'll be back with a food-based alternate identity or primary identity, Studio Simon Stumper.
I will indeed. See you in a little bit.
All right, everyone, welcome to Baseball by Design for the very first time as a guest on the podcast, Valerie Ruiz. You know her as Stadium Food Girl. Valerie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm so excited. Is it really my first time? I feel wow.
It's you were on
That
the 200th episode. You dialed in with your favorite food-based logo, but yeah, I think this is the first time you've been a guest on the podcast.
wow, I cannot believe that this is the first time and with what we're going to talk about later in this episode. This is just so
I know.
cool.
It's so much fun. First of all, before we get going on this, just to sort of set the stage, everyone knows who you are. Everyone who follows minor league baseball on social media knows who you are. But just in case, just for one person out there who might not know what it is that Stadium Food Girl does, this will set the stage or set the table, as it were, for why we're talking about food-based logos today. What is Stadium Food Girl? What do you do?
I love to spend my free time going to sporting events, specifically documenting the fun eats and just talking about them on my social media. This way, if you have very limited time at that said sports venue, like most of us do when we're traveling, visiting, crossing off these sports venues, you don't have to decide what to eat. I kind of like to do the homework for everyone. So,
And this isn't just you're showing up at ballparks and like documenting it on the sly. You've had teams invite you in to participate. You've done it at major league ballparks.
yeah.
This is no small time operation. You're an influencer out there in the minor league baseball food culture.
Yeah, no, I've done obviously plenty of work with the Las Vegas Aviators. I would say that's my home ballpark. Now that I live in Vegas, shout out to Chef Gary and team there, the absolute best. I've done work with my MLB team, the Texas Rangers. Shout out to Grace and everyone over there. The Kansas City Royals. I'm often with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Padres, and then I just recently did some work too with the Vegas Golden Knights, the hockey team here, and the Henderson Silver Knights. They're like their minor league team, and so I really enjoy going around and just getting to work with these teams. It's such a blessing.
Well, it's very cool. It's a lot of fun. And I often think that I just gain weight just by watching your social media feed. Some of the stuff that you are able to put away during a game is pretty impressive. And gosh, there's some really cool food out there in the ballparks. We're not here to talk about the food itself, though. You are wearing a couple of different things from some logos we're going to be talking about. You and I are obviously both fans of minor league baseball logos. Many of the alternate identities out there are food based. And so we each have a few favorites. So you and I, we each have five, and we're going to
Okay.
trade off with some of our favorite food based either alternates or basic, the primary identities.
And earlier, just now you had mentioned we're going to dive in and do all this. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to your good friend who I am a fan of, Dan Simon. I did see his name across a lot of these logos when I was doing my research and just trying to pick just five. You have no idea how hard that was to do.
It is it is difficult. I never ask people what's their favorite logo. I always say, what's one that stands out to you, or what are five that stand out to you. So the five that you and I have each selected, they're just noteworthy, right? Like they're noteworthy, and they're ones that you and I have stumbled across in our baseball travels. So Val, let's jump right in. What is your first food-based minor league baseball logo that you want to call out?
Two things. This is not in particular order, and this is only from the first half of this decade. I can't believe that this decade is already almost over. So this is only
Mm.
between 2020, even though that was kind of a weird year, to 2025 now. So
Okay, I did not give myself that constraint. I'm a little all over the place with my timeline.
go for it. Yeah, no, go for it for sure. That just made it easier for me. So I guess we'll start with the logo that is on my hat, and it's
Mm.
actually number one on my list. The Las Vegas Belly Busters, AAA affiliate, well, Las Vegas Aviators, goodness. AAA affiliate of the my God,
Oh,
of the
goodness.
AAA affiliate of the Athletics. This logo was born this year in 2025 over the summer, and it is one of my favorite logos, not just with alternate identities, but just ever. I think it is a great representation of what Las Vegas really is. When I first moved to Vegas, prior to 2020, buffets were still a thing. They're not as popular anymore,
Yeah.
but no, when anyone thinks of Vegas, when it comes to food, it's two things. It's either prime rib or buffets.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just such a fun tribute, or pays a tribute to Las Vegas. So on the hat, you've got the lobster tail. I think there's like a crab claw in there. There's asparagus, and there's an egg, and it's just so fun.
You know, the whole notion of the Las Vegas buffet is just the best too. I love a good buffet. We used to go to a casino that was sort of off the strip, not really off the strip, but like far, I want to say south on the strip. I think it's south, not north. The M Casino had a really good buffet. And then, of course, the Mandalay Bay was another one that I really liked. But I have a strategy for buffets. I think I'm not alone in this. You got to go protein, all protein. Don't get caught up with starches, potatoes, breads, pasta, any of that stuff. It's going to mess you up. You're not going to get your money's worth. So you got to go all protein and then dessert.
That's so funny you say that. Anytime I'm at a buffet, if there is no mac and cheese, I'm not gonna eat there. So I do like overdo it with the mac and cheese, and then everything else is whatever.
Yeah. Well, on the popcorn shrimp, I like the popcorn shrimp and it's breaded. So, it's do as I say, not as I do, I guess. So, all right, I'm going to go way back with an OG food-based logo. It's not an alternate identity, it's a primary identity. It is the Montgomery Biscuits from the year 2004. It
So
is
good.
such a fun logo. It's been in place ever since, 2004. They haven't changed it since then. And it literally is just a southern biscuit. His tongue is a little pad of butter, and he's a little character with little googly eyes. And it's one of the logos. One of the reasons I really like it is because we'll talk about another logo that really kicked off the food frenzy a little bit later on. But this is one where it really sort of normalized food as the subject of a minor league baseball logo.
Great. And they were actually going to be on my list, but when I was trying to just do 2020 to now, they couldn't make the cut. But I absolutely love that logo. And I especially love the mascot run where they've got the three biscuits. And yeah, I can't wait to see that mascot run in person one day.
Oh yeah, I've never been to a game in Montgomery, so I would love to get there someday. It would be part of a great road trip. You could do like Pensacola and Birmingham and the Trash Pandas. You could put together a really good road trip. All right, that's one each so far, Val. What about, and maybe this will be all right if you do the newer ones and I do the older ones. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
sort of work out a little better. So, what's the second on your list here?
I like that. I guess second, we just did AAA, so let's bring it down to high A,
Okay.
specifically over in Hudson Valley. The Hudson Valley Renegades with the cider donuts.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites. That logo was first born in 2022. And this logo is great because it really celebrates the Hudson Valley's fall harvest culture. The logo is even better with the animated cider donut. And I especially love the baseball connection in that logo because he's holding the little apple with the baseball stick in it. And that's one of my favorite things when it comes to these alternate identities is the baseball connection. So,
Well, it is it's definitely a really fun logo. And I'll tell you what, as a person who was born and raised in the right on the border of like the mid-Atlantic slash Northeast. Like I'm not really sure where Philadelphia falls on that, but we definitely had cider donut culture in Philly. So it was part of our autumn there was having cider donuts around the fall.
I had my first cider donut 2 years ago around this time, and my goodness, I can't believe I went that long.
They are delicious. Okay, the single A affiliate of the Colorado Rockies, they were formerly triple A, the Fresno Grizzlies. They had, I believe, the OG food-based alternate, which is, and it's really like you and I have each talked with Ben Hill. It's impossible to like track these down. He's tried like over the years to see like what really was the first food-based alternate, and they just go way back but the one that I think really kicked off the food frenzy, the like every team in minor league baseball is going to have an alternate identity based on food in their area, the Fresno Tacos. What an awesome logo. I have been looking for a dad hat with the green brim and the white front panel and the yellow back and the taco logo on the front. The Fresno Tacos, they've updated the logo pretty much every year. And then this most recent iteration of it, they actually featured the taco truck. Fresno considers itself the taco truck capital of the world. It's quite a claim, but they do have, before they even did the Fresno Tacos alternate brand, they did have like a taco night at the ballpark. Like it was, their whole big thing that they did. So, or taco truck night at the ballpark, I should say. So they have celebrated taco truck culture for a long time, even before they had this tacos alternate identity. But man, it's a good one. I really like it.
That's funny. Just now you said that you have been trying to track down a hat. I don't know why, but I feel like our good friend Kelly, aka the minor league nerd, might have a hat somewhere. My goodness.
He might, but he's not so much the dad hat guy. He has more the sort of fitted. So yeah, I've seen that yellow. I've seen that cap that I've described as a whatever, the flat brim with the structured front. Not as a dad hat though. So one of these days I'm going to find a Fresno Tacos dad hat, and I'm going to be so excited.
I I want a photo of it when you do find it and a
Okay.
link.
All right.
Too.
Very good. Very good. All right. What's three on your list here?
Number 3 on my list. Let's see. We've done AAA, we've done high A. Let's go down. Let's actually bump up to double A.
Mm.
Here I have the one and only Portland Sea Dogs, who were the main bean suppas, in 2022. And this logo is so fun. It's a cartoon style hot dog in a bowl of baked beans wearing a baseball cap. And I believe that's a beverage in his hand.
Yes, I believe it is.
So that is one of my favorites. Apparently, bean suppas, as it's pronounced, have been a staple in Maine for a very, very long time. Or, and when it comes to like community halls and churches organizing social events, that's always one of the main dishes at these events. So
One of the
that's
main dishes, you say?
main dishes, yeah.
The Portland Sea Dogs, first of all, that's just such a fun brand in general. It's interesting that you brought them up because I'm going to mention them with my next food-based alternate, but they're not actually on my list. So they're part of the conversation. But before I get to that, the main suppas, that's what it's called, right? The main suppas?
The bean suppas.
Oh, the bean suppas. The bean suppas. I have only been to Maine one time in my life. It was my 50th state, by the way. When I got when I got there, I had checked off my 50th state, and I went there for it was part of Baseball Palooza, and we were there for a Portland Sea Dogs game, and it was total blast. I was in Maine for all of 24 hours, and all 3 meals I had were lobster rolls because that's the law, including one at a casino, which was a little dicey. But it was, and I had a lobster roll actually at the game. So the bean suppa is like, yeah, it's a whole thing that they do, I guess, with communities in Maine, and it's a fun alternate identity that they did.
Yeah, and I think an even more fun logo. I have a Bean Suppa plush toy that my dog did claim as his, but I think it's one of my most favorites. It's so cute and still a fairly new logo, just born 3 years ago. So hopefully I see it whenever I cross off a game up there.
Yeah. Well, it's a great ballpark and it's a fun. That's the problem with these alternate identities, right? Like they're so much fun to go see the alternates, but you also kind of
Mhm.
want to see, the classic Portland Sea Dogs brand there. So,
Right, right.
all right, we're halfway through here. I'm gonna give my third that I chose here, and you'll see why there was controversy around this. My native Pennsylvania, the Reading Fightin' Phils, lay claim to home of the whoopie pie.
Mm.
And yeah, and so they debuted 1 year before the Portland Sea Dogs did a very similar identity. The Reading Fightin' Phils debuted their Reading Whoopies, whoopie pie based brown uniform, alternate identity. A year later, the Portland Sea Dogs became the main Whoopies. Now, these are both double A teams, so they actually play each other. I think they have actually played each other in their Whoopies uniforms. I'm not 100% sure of that, but the Reading, Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Dutch culture there lays claim to the whoopie pie. I am giving them the edge, A, because that's where I'm from, and B, because they're a Phillies affiliate and I'm a Phillies fan.
That's funny. That correct me if I'm wrong. So one was 2018, the next was 2019
That's
when
right.
yeah,
Reading,
okay.
Reading was 2018, Maine was 2019. Did you
Yeah.
just know that? Did you just like have that in your back pocket?
I did because I really wanted to feature the main whoopie pies because that is one of my top logos, but because I'm doing 2020
Ah,
till now, that logo was 2019.
all
So
right. All right, what's your
yeah.
fourth one?
Fourth one, let's see. I guess I have one. I do one of these is a primary logo. So I'm like, should I save that for I'm gonna save that one for last.
Okay.
Next I have of the jersey that I'm wearing,
Mm.
and I know that this is audio only, but it is a Round Rock Donuts jersey. Of course, I was gonna throw that in there, and I know that this was the logo that I talked about for episode 200. Congratulations again, but I cannot let go of this logo. It is one of my favorites. One, because I'm a Texas girl. Two, because I love donuts. Three, because I'm a Rangers fan, and this is their AAA affiliate. So I'm also a huge Man versus Food fan. And
A what
this
food fan?
Man versus
Oh,
Food,
man versus food. Okay.
Adam Richman, the OG Man versus Food. And he did an episode at the bakery, and I just thought it was so cool. And the jersey's fun. There's donuts just plastered all over the jersey. One of my favorite donuts on the jersey, as mentioned on the episode number 200, is the donut with the red, white, and blue icing, paying tribute to the Texas flag colors. So for me, it's all about the little details, and I love that logo.
Is there, and forgive my ignorance here, is there something about donuts and Texas, or is this like in partnership with like a famous donut
Yes.
shop? Like what? Okay.
Of course, yes. So it is actually paying tribute to a bakery in Round Rock, a very famous bakery, famous for their large yellow donuts, which
Uh,
was the donuts featured on that episode. He did an episode in Austin, and I think he was the main like challenge up part of the episode was in Austin, but he stopped in Round Rock, and it's an awesome little bakery, and I just love that they collaborated together. You've got to check it out next time you're in Round Rock, Texas.
I have a woefully inadequate list of baseball parks that I have been to in Texas. I have only ever been to the old Rangers ballpark. That's the only baseball stadium I've ever been to in Texas. So I've got work to do in Texas. Maybe a road trip is in order, especially if there's going to be donuts involved.
uh, I believe donuts that are 14 inches in diameter. So I think it's
Sounds
14
pretty.
inches. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Now, are you expected to eat one of those donuts by yourself? I mean, that's basically just a cake, I think. That's like
I
a
would
bunt cake.
I would take it on. I
Sounds
would
good.
challenge myself and then yeah. But yeah, we've all got a next meetup if it's in Texas. That's got to be one of the spots that we stop at.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the places that we are talking about for our next meetup is the highlight of my fourth choice here, which is, in my mind, an absolute classic of the food frenzy. I love these jerseys. I really like these jerseys. This is from the AAA Buffalo Bisons, the Buffalo Wings, and of
Oh,
course, I mean, it feels almost obvious, right? But the Buffalo Wings, they had this whole debate over like flats versus drummies. So, as a foodie, what do you have a preference, flats versus drummies?
this is actually going to be very shocking. I prefer boneless, but
Oh,
if bone in is the only option, I'll do flats.
you'll do flats. Okay, well, I'll do the drummies. There's a name for boneless buffalo wings, and that is chicken nuggets. So
That's fine.
I know
Come
they
on,
call them boneless buffalo wings. That's not what they are. Uh, so yeah, but this is, I just love the colors of this. They incorporate celery. There's like a sort
Mhm.
of blue cheesy like baseball there, and just yeah, it's really. I think the logo itself is well done, and I think that Buffalo Wings are. It was one of those ones where it was sort of late to the game when it came to like the food frenzy alternate identities, but it was like once it was there, it was just like finally, like this is we're complete now. This is the one we've all been waiting for. So I love a buffalo wing. I actually don't have any gear. I don't have any Buffalo Wings gear, so I think I may have to get out there and get some.
Yeah, no, it's a very fun logo for sure, and I love the baseball connection there with the baseball. Very subtle, but it's perfect.
All right, that's four each, so we're each down to one more. We got to consider these carefully. I know what my last one's going to be here, but I know this was a tough to see who made the cut and who did not.
I know, but then again, I feel a little better that I was limited to just the last four-ish years since 2020 didn't really count. Okay, the last one is a primary logo. It's very special to me because this one, spot number 5, belongs to the Hub City Spartan Burgers. Of course, I had to, high A affiliate of my MLB team, the Texas Rangers. And this was their first year, and they did absolutely incredible this season. And on top of that, these logos are by Dan Simon, so we love that.
It's such a great suite of logos. I absolutely love of all the logos, they're all terrific. It's a fun brand based on there's a I guess a famous like burger place there, like also featured on one of the like Man versus Food, drive-ins, diners, dives, one of those TV shows.
Yeah.
But there is a famous burger place there that is the reason that they did this whole like neon alternate identity or primary identity.
Yeah.
But the logo I like the best is the little
Chip?
pickle slice.
Yep.
And his name is Chip. How great is that that his name is Chip?
His
So
name
yeah,
Chip. He's like, I don't know, playing catch or catching a ball, and then you've got the spatula who's Flip, who is just as awesome, and he's
yeah,
swinging the bat. I love everything about the logos that were created for this new team.
yeah, yep. It's a great brand, and kudos to our friend Dan Simon who just does such good work on everything that he does. I have one last one here, and this is a tribute to my childhood, basically. The Delmarva Shorebirds, who did as their entry in the alternate identity food frenzy, they did the Delmarva Scrapple. Now, Scrapple is a breakfast meat that basically contains like all the stuff they won't put in sausage. It's like the worst of all the leftover grade R meat, and they grind it up and form it into a patty, fry it up and serve it with eggs and white toast and American cheese. And it's the most glorious, delicious breakfast food you'll ever have. And the Delmarva, they play in the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Delmarva Peninsula because they're right there in that peninsula that is all different parts of those three states. So part of the area where I grew up, Scrapple, terrible, delicious breakfast meat. And the logo is just like a Scrapple egg and cheese sandwich on white toast, and it's so glorious.
That is so funny. I came to the website real quick. Can I read you just the first sentence of how they talk about this logo real quick?
Sure.
Delmarva Scrapple. Celebrate the superior breakfast meat, Scrapple. This tasty combination of pork, cornmeal, and spices originates from Dutch colonist recipes. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
some flowery language for a breakfast meat that does not deserve it. Yeah, it is. It is pretty funny that that was their choice for because it's like how do you make Scrapple like appealing as a logo, right? Like it's just this sort of colorless, shapeless breakfast meat. So
Awesome.
the actual logo only features a little bit of Scrapple. It's mostly toast and cheese and eggs.
Yeah, that's actually such an adorable logo, and I feel like I need merch now.
So Val, we have sort of a bonus that we need to talk about tonight because at the time of this recording, just today we had unveiled the Carolina Reapers, a an alternate identity from the Winston-Salem Dash, who have just been doing great work, by the way. The Winston-Salem Dash have so many good alternates, but this Carolina Reapers, you and I were texting with each other, and we were both sort of saying like, how did it take this long to get the Carolina Reaper? We have so many like pepper-based logos out there, that the Reapers, it seems like such an obvious one, but the
Yeah.
Dash were the first to do it. You like this logo, I like this logo.
I love this logo. One, because it's food, and there's still that baseball connection. It looks like one of the logos is the Grim Reaper, and he's got the little like whatever's in his hand, whatever he's swinging is supposed to be the bat, which
Yeah.
I love that.
His Grim Reaper scythe there, right? Like that's what he's carrying around. Yeah, and it's supposed to be the baseball bat. That is a fun one. And have you ever, in all of your eating adventures, have you ever tried a really super spicy pepper like the Reaper?
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
I not at a game, but like I love to make salsa, and I love to throw in like really like habanero peppers and just a lot of chilies in there. So
okay, so you like spicy food
I
then.
love spicy. I love spicy food, yes.
I in general like spicy food, but I don't need it to be like a dare, right? Like so I've never tried any of the like really super. I think I might die if I tried any of like the really like high end spicy peppers, but
When it comes to spicy food, I think I do have a tolerance, but
yeah.
that's because my mother forced it. So no, it worked out.
Well, if it was part of your childhood and you were raised on it, my parents are Irish and Italian, so I didn't have a ton of spicy food in my upbringing. I was late to the game on spicy food.
That's funny. No, yeah. My mother she was born and raised in Mexico, so she never held back.
Well, I'm a little jealous because I like spicy food, but I can't always handle it. Val, this has been so much fun. I can't believe how fast this time just went by.
I know, I can't believe we limited ourselves to five. We should do this again.
We have to do it again. I think it's a great. There's so many food-based alternates to be talking about out there, and I hope people will take the occasion to comment on social media what their favorites are, or shoot me an email, pauljcaputo@gmail.com. Let me know what your favorite food-based alternates are. Maybe we'll read them. We'll read them next time we do this, Val. We'll read them. So we'll revisit this and we'll read everyone's favorites that come in. In the meantime, Val, where can people find you? Where can they find Stadium Food Girl and the work that you're doing out there in minor league baseball?
I can be found on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok.
Okay. I follow you on all of those places, except I'm not on TikTok. I'm too old to be on TikTok. And you and I, we had a really fun experience. Just the one time so far. We were supposed to do it again this year, and then I couldn't make it. But we went last year to the AAA championship game, where your good friend Chef Gary really set us up. We got up there into the fancy like suite area. It was delicious. Chef Gary did amazing work up there in the fancy people area that you got us into, and the AAA championship game in Las Vegas. What an experience that was.
Last year or this year?
Last year. I wasn't there this year.
But oh, well, yes, last year, what an experience that was. Again, shout out to Chef Gary. The mashed potatoes, I think I had maybe like 3 or 4 plates.
I went back for the prime rib several times. Again,
Yeah.
the whole buffet approach, avoid the starches, go with the proteins, and then hit the desserts when you're ready.
This year was just as incredible. The display this year, they had a prime rib carving station. There was lobster mac and cheese. There was
Mm.
roasted vegetables. There was a lot of this, a lot, just absolutely incredible. I did post about it, but I feel like I need to do a recap. I feel like I also need to mention that this year the game was an absolute heartbreaker. I cried multiple times.
Your Aviators, it was up and down, back and forth, and weirdly, in their home ballpark, your Aviators got walked off because they were technically the visiting team. How do you get walked off in your own home ballpark? But I'm sorry that that didn't turn out for you the way you wanted it to.
I think the most frustrating part about that is that the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp were not even a AAA team.
Just 2 years ago, or a couple of years ago. Yeah, they just moved from, I guess that was in like the whole like 2020 reshuffling of minor league baseball. They moved up into AAA. So, and here they are winning it all, taking the championship out of the hands of the Las Vegas Aviators, the AAA affiliate of the Sacramento A's, the Athletics. We'll just call them the Athletics. Val, this has been a ton of fun. We're going to do it again. I hope everyone will write in with your favorite minor league baseball food-based identities. There are a bajillion of them, so it'll be fun to cover that again.
Yes, of course.
Val, thanks. I'm going to go watch some postseason baseball. At the time of this recording, there is postseason baseball happening, so I'm going to go check out some baseball now, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I can't wait.
All right, everyone, welcome back. It is time once again for a Studio Simon Stumper with friend, nay, practically co-host of the podcast, Dan Simon. Dan, hello, how you doing?
I am fantastic. I wouldn't refer to myself as a co-host, more of a sidekick. I'm the Ed McMahon, Andy Richter of the Baseball by Design podcast.
The only thing I have in common with Conan, I think, is red hair. I'm a huge fan of Andy Richter. I think Andy Richter is one of the funniest people out there. So you're no slouch if you're an Andy Richter character in this situation. Dan, we're talking about food. I have not eaten yet today, so this whole episode is making me hungry. Although the interview that Val and I did happen after dinner, so it was that one was okay. But it did make me want to eat all of these various foods, including Scrapple. Dan, have you had Scrapple before?
I have when I was a little kid, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you where I was. I do know it was on a vacation somewhere. Where do you know? Did you discuss where Scrapple is?
Oh, it's a Philadelphia regionalism. It's one of the reasons I love it so much is it has its origins in the mid-Atlantic, let's say. But growing up in Philadelphia, going to the Jersey Shore, it was part of my breakfast menu.
Then I can probably tell you where the trip was. Not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you. When I was, gosh, how old would I have been? Maybe about 12 years old, 10 to 12. My parents took us on a trip to the Amish country in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Which was a very memorable trip for me for two reasons. One is seeing real Amish people doing real Amish things made a very big impression on me. Yeah. The impression was, I'm really glad I'm not Amish.
My pants have zippers.
And also on that trip, this was not planned. Yes, it was planned. We went to Hershey Park. I'm sure you've been to Hershey Park, haven't you?
The first roller coaster I ever rode was the Comet at Hershey Park. And then the first time I was ever upside down on a roller coaster in my life was the Super Duper Looper at Hershey Park.
Okay. That was also a very memorable part of the trip. And one of the other things that was really memorable, and this was the unplanned part, we weren't supposed to stay the night. I think we were supposed to go home from there after we went to the park, but I guess we stayed long enough or too long at the park, too late to go home, drive back to our home in Wayne, New Jersey. And we stayed at the Hershey Hotel, which was, at that time, it was the nicest hotel I had ever stayed in. I remember getting to our room and it's like, wow, I've never stayed in a place like this. My parents were very, we were middle class. I don't know if we were quite upper middle class. I think we were between middle class and upper middle class. But my dad was a very practical person when it came to spending money. So
Sure.
we would stay at motor lodges, like
Sure.
we rarely hotels, motels, motor lodges, that type of thing. We didn't live high on the hog. And so staying at the Hershey Hotel, especially when it wasn't even on the agenda, was a big thrill for me. So
What a
but
treat. Friend of the podcast, Phil Broder, and I have had the conversation about how Hershey needs a minor league baseball team. Phil has been agitating to get me to cover hockey, minor league hockey teams on this podcast. And we've had the conversation about how it's not called hockey by design, but there's a lot of great hockey logos out there. They have the Hershey Bears. Other, towns in and around Hershey have minor league baseball teams. But Hershey, I feel like there could be a really good, like, chocolate themed minor league baseball team in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I've been there, obviously, as I just mentioned, but it was a long time ago. And yes, they do have a minor league hockey team, the identity for which was done by my good friend and not friend of the show,
Yeah.
Joe Bosack.
Enemy of the podcast.
And so I don't really know a lot about Hershey. Is it a big enough market for a minor league baseball team?
I mean, we've got minor league baseball teams in some pretty small markets out there, and central Pennsylvania has a pretty decent sized population, and they can support a hockey team. Why not? Why not a baseball team? And
Yes.
it would be yet another great food-based baseball identity if it were chocolate themed.
The Hershey Kisses.
Dan,
The
we're going to be
Hershey-
rich.
The Hershey bars, the team would need to be owned. It'd be great if the team was owned by the Hershey Corporation.
Now, here's a trivia question for you, Dan. Can you name a minor league baseball team at some level, certainly not affiliated, probably either independent or collegiate summer, in a league that we were talking about recently, I believe, that is called the Bars?
Maybe if you say it, I'll go, oh yeah, but
This
no.
This is I believe, in Rob Neyer's West Coast League, the Nanaimo Bars.
Yeah, I read about that because I had no idea what it was, and then I
Yeah.
looked it up, and it's like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So
And I think that they play as the Bars during the day, and then they play as the Owls at night. Like, they actually have different brands depending on whether they're playing at in the daytime or the nighttime. So
well, if it was the other kind of bar, it should be played at night.
that's true. Yeah. Or they could just have two different brands that were the Nanaimo Bars, and one would be the dessert item that has its origins in Nanaimo, Canada, and then the other one could be the bar itself, where you go and drink beer and watch hockey. It's a second hockey reference in this Stumper segment. Dan, what do we got for a Studio Simon Stumper? There's so many veins that you could tap here in this Studio Simon Stumper.
I'm sure you and our listeners, your listeners, they're yours. I do not lay claim to your listeners. We know that states have like a state tree
Sure.
or state insect or
Yeah.
something like that.
My podcast hero, John Hodgman, who I've been listening to Judge John Hodgman forever, and he does several other podcasts. One of the podcasts that he does, and I've forgotten the name of his co-host, and I feel very bad about that, but she also does great work. They do a podcast together called E Pluribus Motto, in which they address one state at a time, and also commonwealths and territories, the state things of all of those states, and they center it around the state motto, but they also discuss the insects and the animals and all that sort of thing. So it's funny that you bring it up, because I was just listening to the one on Maryland, and they were talking about Delmarva on that one, and they were talking about a drink that was invented in Delmarva called the Orange Crush. Total diversion, but I just keep thinking of food things, Dan.
Well, we're going to talk about food and we're going to talk about state things. So
Okay.
our Studio Simon Stumper today asks, which of these minor league baseball alternate identity foods is not an official state food?
Okay.
So
Oh,
choose some
not an
alive.
official state food. Okay. Well, Scrapple
an official-
definitely is.
Okay. Is it A, the Charleston boiled peanuts,
Okay.
B, the Hudson Valley cider donuts,
Yeah.
C, the Maine whoopie pies?
Now, whoopie pies are a point of conversation in this episode, because I cited the Reading Whoopies as one of my favorites, and I juxtaposed them to those posers from Maine trying to lay claim to the whoopie pies. All right, boiled peanuts, cider donuts, whoopie pies. I hope I'm right about this, Dan. I'm going to say the whoopie pies. Now, this might be splitting hairs here, and you probably would have emphasized this, but does it have to be the state thing of the state where that team plays? Because I would have thought boiled peanuts might have been from a different state.
Yes, it does. And per that question, one of the choices I was going to include were the grits, which were done by
Columbia.
I forget who it was. Some
It was
team
the Fireflies.
in
South Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina did the grits.
Okay. Well, then I think grits are an official state food of Georgia.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I was actually surprised. I guess grits are all throughout the South, but I would have thought one of the Carolina teams would have claimed it would have been an official state food of one of the Carolina teams. I don't know why, but so I did not do grits because the team that does it, it's not the officials.
Okay. So
food in
that
state.
question is germane to the larger conversation, but it does not factor into the answer to the question. So I am going to go, dang, Maine did like we're the whoopie pie state because we're going to stick it to Pennsylvania. Boiled peanuts, cider donuts, whoopie pies. I've talked about it too much, Dan, to not go with whoopie pies as the answer.
Do you want to talk yourself out of it?
No, I'm going to go whoopie pies.
Okay.
You gave me the chance. I wouldn't have felt right if I had gotten it right once I talked myself out of it. But
Okay.
yeah, whoopie pies. That's probably cider donuts, but whoopie pies.
The whoopie pie. Well, first of all, this is an interesting part of this conversation. So none of these are the official food of the particular state, like like official state fruit or the official state vegetable.
Yeah.
The whoopie pie, believe it or not, is the official state treat of Maine. So, and the boiled peanut is the official state snack food of South Carolina. So the cider donuts are not official anything. However, obviously, as we mentioned, it's Hudson Valley, New York. Apples are New York's official state fruit, and the apple muffin is New York's official state muffin. Now, you might think, really, somebody has a state muffin? Well, this is the thing I learned in researching this stumper.
May I guess as to what this is? And I may have learned this from that John Hodgman podcast. Is this one where like a class, like a class of like kindergartners or something petitioned the state Congress to make apple muffins the official muffin?
That's part of what I was going to discuss. So we will
Sorry to
get to
interrupt.
that. No, you didn't interrupt. This is a conversation. The first thing I was going to say is, I just mentioned that the apple muffin is New York's official state muffin. And then that got me to thinking, well, does that mean New Jersey has a state muffin? Does California have a state muffin? No, there's student groups. And I don't know if all of these official things came from student groups, but to a certain degree, if not a large degree, student groups petition the state to name things the official state, this, that, or the other. So in addition to state muffins, state snack foods, state treats, you've got things like state pies. For instance, key lime pie is Florida's official pie.
Sure.
You've got state cookie. The chocolate chip cookie is for Massachusetts.
Please.
You've got state jellies in Louisiana. You've got Mayhaw jelly. Don't know what that is. And Louisiana sugarcane jelly. They've got not one, but two state jellies.
Two state jellies.
You have a state sandwich, which, by the way, made it to a alternate identity for an affiliated minor league baseball team. But unfortunately, that team is no longer an affiliated minor league baseball team. The Trenton Thunder pork roll.
Yeah.
Pork rolls. So the pork roll, egg and cheese, that's the official state sandwich of New Jersey.
Okay.
And then you've got a state prepared food. And that brings us back to the grits. For some reason, it's called the state prepared food. Aren't most foods dishes prepared.
Prepared, sure.
Yeah,
Well, and that may get to the distinction that we were making early on about, produce and animals that become food versus, we could have used the word prepared food for any of these food-based alternate logos.
okay. And now the last state food I want to mention, there is one state out of our 50 that has a state meal, and that is Oklahoma. And I can't name all of these, but there are 11 separate items that make up their state meal. Where these come from, we mentioned students, and if not students, like where else, in addition to students, where else did they come from? A state meal with 11 separate items. It was quite the smorgasbord, I'll tell you that.
That's really something right there. When you said state meal, I was going to guess Minnesota and hot dish, but that would have been wrong. So I'm glad I didn't. One of these states actually passed some kind of ordinance that like student groups were not allowed to propose these things anymore because it was getting ludicrous. And they actually like passed a rule preventing student groups from petitioning them to name state things. And I think it might have been the New York and the apple muffin that was the source of that. So I feel like I've spent a lot of time promoting this other podcast, E Pluribus Motto. But like I said, John Hodgman's a podcast hero of mine, and he's talked about a lot of this stuff. So I feel like you should be a guest now, Dan, on E Pluribus Motto.
I did learn a few things about state foods. So
yeah, absolutely.
And state, in looking this up, I saw the state other things that they have, and there's all manner of things. It's actually, if there were just a list of, let's say, 5 things that all states had to name their state, this, that, or the other, I don't know if it'd be that interesting, but it's kind of interesting to see kind of these random things that states choose to make official.
If I feel like it says something about those states, what they choose to have a state thing of. Dan, so much fun, as always. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but guess what? We'll see you again next week. It's the off season, and we're going to have all sorts of fun stuff to talk about to bridge the dark months between now and spring training. We'll see you on the next episode of Baseball by Design.
Baseball by Design, which is a bright spot in the otherwise dark months of the off season, and that's why I look forward to each episode, and I look forward to next week when we get to do another Studio Simon Stumper.